Homeostasis is the regulation of the internal conditions of a cell or an organism to maintain optimum conditions for function in response to internal and external changes. Let's try and break this down so that we can understand it a bit better. First of all, the internal conditions is the internal environment of an organism. It is important for organisms to have a stable internal environment, as the functioning of organs and the carrying out of certain reactions may alter if the conditions were constantly changing. The reactions of our body, the tissues and organs are all dependent on the body cells. If the functioning of the cells has changed, then the whole body functioning could also be changed. As we know, changes in pH and temperature can alter the rate of certain reactions, and so it is essential for us to be able to maintain optimal internal conditions when changes take place. In the human body, the following things are controlled: blood glucose concentration, body temperature, and water levels. When you step off a plane into a hotter country, your body needs a way of detecting this change in temperature and then be able to respond to it. This process is carried out by an automatic control system. These responses could be carried out by the nervous system or the hormone system, i.e. nervous responses or chemical responses. All control systems, whether they are chemical or nervous, have three parts: receptors, coordination centres and effectors. Receptor cells are able to detect changes in the environment, otherwise known as stimuli. Coordination centres are areas which receive and process the information from the receptors. The brain and spinal cord are examples. And finally, effectors are muscles or glands which bring about the actual response to the stimuli. The rest of the content is biology only content. As I've already said, when you go into a much hotter country, your body needs to be able to keep the core temperature of the body the same. We are going to take a look at how our body is able to make the core temperature increase or decrease in order to keep a constant temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. The body temperature is controlled and monitored by the thermoregulatory centre in the brain. It is here where receptors sensitive to changes in blood temperature are found. The skin also contains receptors sensitive to temperature. If these skin receptors detect a change, they will send an impulse to the thermoregulatory centre. Let's take a look at what happens when we get cold. If we get too cold, the enzyme-controlled reactions will become too slow. So, when a fall in body temperature is detected, impulses are sent to the thermoregulatory centre and methods are taken to prevent you from cooling down and losing heat to the environment. These are the things that happen. The blood vessels supplying the skin capillaries will constrict or close up in order to reduce the flow of blood through the capillaries and hence reduce the energy transferred to the environment. This is also known as vasoconstriction. Sweat production stops so that there is less water evaporating off the surface of the skin and again less energy being transferred. Then finally, your skeletal muscles will contract and relax rapidly. This is known as shivering. This requires lots of energy from respiration. Respiration is an exothermic process and so your body temperature will rise. If you are too hot, however, you need to be able to cool off. This means the opposite will occur. So your blood vessels will dilate, otherwise known as vasodilation, to increase the energy transfer across the skin, and sweat production will increase. These will both lead to an increase in energy transfer, and so you will cool off.